Hi, Mark Schweibens. Today I want to talk to you about how you interview a commercial real estate broker. To many of you, I need to tell you this is something you need to do. You need to take this serious. You might be watching this video on our YouTube channel, on our 1031 website, or our Property Resources website. But this is the biggest problem we're seeing in commercial real estate on a day-to-day basis. We see a lot of clientele that does not interview a commercial real estate broker. What they do is they hire the broker by proximity. And I'll tell you a quick story. I got a phone call 2 weeks ago by a gentleman that was really nervous about a deal he's working on to sell his building. And he's talking to me about a tax exchange, but his sale is going sideways. So I said, look, you're nervous, let me take care of it. He's about 50 miles from here. I was at his building at 8 o'clock the following morning, and I looked around. I ended up giving him probably 20 to 25 recommendations on how to improve the situation that he was in the middle of. And he said, well, my agent didn't tell me about any of these things. And I said, well, does your agent specialize in property sales? He said, well, I'm not sure. I said, okay, where did you meet your agent? And he said, I met the agent at Rotary. So this happens all the time, and this video is to try to prevent it for some of you. The best brokers in the marketplace specialize. The average brokers work on a general practice, meaning they'll do a little bit of anything, and therefore probably not terribly good at anything. So you got to first start off by understanding, what do brokers do? Because we know that not all of them specialize. But the categories of service are leasing or property sales. And then agents specialize by product type. Now when you get into property sales, which is, if you're watching this video, probably something you're contemplating, you got to understand that there's two kinds of brokers. There's a shop like ours where we sell assets from $1 to $10 million. This is 80% of the real estate in America. But we have some other agents, the best in this market I actually trained, that are selling properties above $10 million. Now, with these agents, whether you're in our price category or the institutional brokers category, we still have specialty within all these different asset classes. So you have to understand, what does the agent you're talking to specialize in, and are you conducting an interview? So what we're going to do is we're going to jump to slide number 2, and we're going to quickly jump in to how to interview a commercial real estate broker. So hopefully by now, you've at least tried to convince yourself that before you work with a broker, you're going to interview the broker. Now personally, I interview attorneys before I work with attorneys. I interview CPAs before I work with CPAs. I just did a deal last year where we were separating 14 different partnerships. I needed an attorney that really knew how to do that. So I interviewed 3 different attorneys on a partnership disillusionment project. So no matter what I do, generally it's for customers, I want to make sure I have the best people involved in my transactions. So I'm encouraging you to go ahead and interview commercial brokers. And if you ask these questions, you're going to know if you're talking to the right broker for your transaction, because it's all about relevant experience. If they spend most of their time doing leases, they're not the right agent to handle the sale. If they have no exposure to property management and you're looking at a 5-tenant building and some of the tenants are triple net and some of the tenants are modified gross, this could get complicated depending on who you're working with. If you're working on a deal where you got to build out a suite for one of the tenants that's expanding, you need to know if you're working with an agent that's ever handled anything like that. And then the last thing, and I ask people to ask this all the time, ask somebody if they've ever done the transaction that you're contemplating with their own money. Because if they have, they probably really know what they're doing. If they haven't, they're still learning. So do yourself a favor. Don't be like the person that I told you about at the beginning of the video that called me totally confused because their broker that they met from Rotary hadn't really steered them correctly. Before you work with an agent, Go through this process and you're going to achieve much better transactions. Thank you very much.